It's season 2 of the Pay It Forward newsletter, and I was on a hiatus for a very good reason. Actually ties a lot into the book that I'm going to talk about today. But for the first 6 months of 2026, still accomplished my goal and have completed 6 different books when it comes to business and 6 different books that were more fiction and or non-business related. 12 books, 2 books per month is always my goal. My New Year's resolution was really to get out of my comfort zone and start reading some additional things. Joined a book club at work, also worked with my wife on picking some books that we can read together. So I've really been expanding my horizon and now sharing not only items that I've read that are completely different, like Project Hail Mary, Remarkably Bright Creatures, The Wager, The Road, etc. And now also discussing those fantastic books that I read for my continuous development, whether it's self-development, professional development, just more learning, etc. And I've read a fantastic number of books this year. The one I want to talk about today is What a Unicorn Knows. Now, the fantastic thing, and there's multiple authors, I'll put it below in the newsletter. Fantastic thing about this book is it tied to why I was on a hiatus for the Pay It Forward newsletter. Taking on a little bigger role within our organization and focusing on go to market, truly making sure that it's going to be a fit as we scale up. See, What a Unicorn Knows talks about how we're going from startups to scale ups, and scale ups is the most difficult phase for a unicorn to get to its status. See, they say the book says from Fortune 500, we're really going to change it to what's the Unicorn 500? And scaling up is not easy. They use an acronym SCALE in order to define how to truly get to that next stage. And they give lots of examples of companies that have done it and how they actually beat the various things they need to beat in order to get to that next phase. SCALE, strategic speed. C is for constant pressure. A for accelerated value. L for lean process, and E, Esprit de Corps, which really means culture and team. And I loved all of these things because it related to the things that I already do, it related to things I need to do, and there's so many comparisons from prior books that I loved reading about. I'll give you some examples. Obviously, scale has its individual meanings, but when you look at strategic speed, it's all about alignment across your org, horizontal and vertical. One of the key analogies they gave is horizontal is typically when you have a quarterback getting a play from a coach and going into the huddle, sharing that play, and everyone goes and executes it. Well, at a scale up, the book says you really have to think like an F1 pit crew. Everybody already knows the strategy. There's no specific play to call. We're already doing everything we need to do, but we have to be aligned and constantly getting better and faster in order to make that speed that's needed. See, speed is the dominant priority in scale ups. A couple other things that they share that was fantastic in the book when you look at culture of constant experimentation, right? If you're trying to have constant pressure, it's keeping like yourself to keep getting better. And they talk about doing experiments over ideas. And one other thing, talking about the product fit for an organization, when you look at go to market and product fit, you want to be on the podium like F1 racing, 1, 2, or 3. If you're not in that top 3, it's going to be really hard for you to scale up and get to that next stage. There's a lot of other great things in the book, but I wanted to share some of those. I'm going to actually post a lot more of my nuggets below in the newsletter. And the other thing I want to talk about is I also read The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker. Now, that book was one of the first books I read this year. It was a fantastic recommendation by KD, Kevin Dorsey. And actually, so was What a Unicorn Knows. I took some of the books that he's been talking about and wanted to go and read it on my own. But even on that positive philosophy that the happiness advantage is about, I did a whole session at our company's go-to-market kickoff talking about how you really have to think about the Pygmalion effect, the ways to continuously get better with positivity, looking at gratitude as a strategy, and so many more items. So check out that below in the newsletter where you can see the full speaking engagement and kickoff that I got to share about the book. Outside of that, let's continue to absorb the knowledge. Let's continue to learn as individuals so that way we can pay it forward.